Raila Odinga as doing and being. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Kwam. Viva Baba, viva! Long live Baba's spirit, long live. Thank you very much. As Kwam has introduced me, my name is Sheila Masinda. I work at Transparency International Kenya. But even before I went to do what I do at TI Kenya, I have always been an active citizen, and I must say that I was quite inspired by my Member of Parliament. And my Member of Parliament for actually 20 years, my Member of Parliament of Langata constituency was Baba Raila Odinga from 1992 up to 2013. And he inspired a lot of us as our Member of Parliament. So first and foremost, I always regard him as my MP. Of course, he did many, many big things in this country and in this continent other than representing the people of Langata. I always also say that the first political rally I attended in 1992 as a 10-year-old was that of Raila, when he just announced his intention to run for parliament in Langata, and many of us young kids growing up in those estates were quite excited because we'd always heard about this man, the son of Jaramogi, who had been detained through and through, and we just wanted to see him. We just wanted to see him. How does this man look like? He's been, shuffled in and out of detention, and we were quite curious. And the first time we heard that he was having a rally in one of the fields in Langata, we actually sneaked away from home just to go to see him. And I think that is when a lot of us started following his work and just really admired what he was doing for Kenyans. I was asked to speak about Baba, the human rights champion, the civic actor, because for us that's what he really was. And we had a moment, as Cornelius has said, to memorialize him and celebrate him 2 weeks ago when we visited Kangoka Jaramogi with many of our colleagues, and also had a day-long, almost day-long visit with Ida, where we exchanged a lot in terms of the relationship and also the experiences that we had with Baba. I always regard, looking at the work that I do in anti-corruption, I regarded Baba as almost an entire anti-corruption institution, because he did more than what we as TI Kenya do. Because we say we create citizen demand for accountability, we create opportunities for citizens to provide oversight, we receive corruption reports, we whistleblow, we receive reports from whistleblowers, we talk about debt and corruption, money laundering, illicit financial flows. And when I look back at Baba's statements or Baba's actions against corruption, he did this and much more. There are many times actually, and I've also just spoken to some of my predecessors, there are many things that we didn't feel safe saying, especially in the early years of the work that we are doing. When corruption was still said in harsh tones, in corridors, we had presidents who wouldn't dare even admit that we had a problem of corruption. And even for us as civic actors, there are some cases you didn't want to touch. And many times those cases, those files, those documents found themselves in Baba's hands. We would provide sometimes information which we felt, this one, if we need someone else to cut and raise on it before we come and do our press conferences and demand and threaten or go to court, sometimes you needed him to raise that curtain so that you could be able to speak about the issues that needed to be addressed. I also quite remember the times when he would do a lot of press statements at his, I don't know if it was at his Capitol Hill office, but many times when he would come and just give his concerns, well documented. And one thing we really admired about him is that when he came to talk about an issue, he came with facts and figures. Of course, we know that sometimes we would give him some of that information so that he could raise the curtain, as I've said. But we really admired his courage and his resilience and really his commitment to issues around accountability. And that's why I say, when I look at Baba, he was an anti-corruption institution, and also looking at the other work that he did, because my colleagues and I had a moment to reflect upon his work on elections, for instance, looking at all those cases that he was able to take to court, it wasn't just about him being denied, victory, or being, raising issues around botched elections or processes or procedures that weren't followed according to the law. It was really just about setting critical precedents, which we are now using to ensure that certain processes like elections are better managed in Kenya, so that there's credibility and there's legitimacy in the outcomes. So we really admire that effort that he made towards all areas of democracy, human rights, and governance. In remembering Baba, one of the things that we did 2 weeks ago is, and I think you can see as on the screen, we compiled a number of his quotations across different thematic issues: corruption, elections, democracy, human rights, and other key areas where he made a lot of contributions, because we felt that we wanted to memorialize and remember those things that he said that we need to remember with clarity and with the same conviction in which he made some of those statements. And I hope that CMD will be able to share that booklet. I don't know that they managed to reprint it, or at least share it in soft copy, so that you can all be able to just remember the words that he said. We're able to give this booklet as a memorialization from civil society to Ida, to Mama Ida, when we visited, and we hope that that's one of the booklets that she'll be able to use, the family will be able to use in their library. One of the key quotes that we have captured in that booklet, and I'll read it out, is on the issue of corruption, which I said he spoke a lot about. And I'll just read. The key to ending systemic corruption in this country is in the laws we are beginning to implement. Our constitution today demands the highest standards of leadership and integrity of officers. This is what we must uphold. The steps we are taking to reform our judiciary, and which I hope will be reflected in all of the key public institutions, appear to me to hold the future for our country with regard to corruption. Parliament, together with the government, that I think he meant the executive, has a responsibility to the public to uphold the principles of integrity, accountability, and transparency. And let us be uncompromising in the application of these demands. I really hope that as a country, we can live true and really commit to that call to action that Baba repeatedly made in regard to transparency, accountability, and integrity. I also want to just read a section of the forward that we also made in the book as a collection of civil society organizations, as we just remembered some of the work that Baba did, which touched on all our areas of work. In the quest for Kenya's democratization, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga remained a steadfast champion, supporter, and partner with non-state actors, even in the face of unparalleled abuse, threats, and violation of human rights, including his very own. Throughout his political career, and in particular through regular convening of the Prime Minister's Civil Society Roundtable, he played an instrumental role in expanding the democratic governance space and the protection of human rights and dignity. CSOs, international and local non-governmental organizations in Kenya cherish this and many other fond memories of Honorable Odinga, showed through his words and actions, that the pursuit of freedom and a democratic society are earned through the courage, the compassion, conviction, and resilience of a society's citizenry. He was a powerful leader for democracy, and his legacy for Kenya and for democratic governance in the continent will be long-lasting. He planted seeds that we can already see the trees are growing, looking at the people that he has left behind, both in civil society, in the political space, and many other spaces, who are holding that, burning that flame alive, that flame that he lit in the pursuit of democracy. We will of course miss his voice in terms of the call he made to us to action for accountability, but we also recognize that he did a lot for this country, and we can only pray that he continues to rest in power. I want to end there, but I just also want to encourage the people, his family. I can see Winnie has walked in. Karibu sana Winnie. and his political party and many other actors that we hope that we can continue to work in that same spirit and we can continue to fight for democracy. We always say that Baba started a journey, and we jokingly say that he was to take us to Canaan. I don't know how many people feel that they're in Canaan yet, but there's a big section of this country that feels we are not yet there. He took us a great distance in that journey towards democracy, towards accountability, towards constitutionalism, and everything else, all those values and principles that he fought so hard. He fought so hard, we even for the first time had them entrenched in our constitution. He gave us a good direction, but that journey is unfinished. He left us in good stead, and I really hope that we can continue to work together to complete that journey in memory of Baba. Viva Baba, viva. Long live Baba spirit, long live. Thank you.
Sheila, thank you very much. Please